The Forgotten Realms are home to many a strange and fearsome creature. Here, we aim to discuss them all. Go not blindly into the unknown, adventurer. Join us in browsing the bestiary.
Welcome back to Browsing the
Welcome
Bestiary,
back.
a podcast that takes an in-depth look at all those creatures that put the monster in Monster Manual,
Mm-hmm.
the beast in Bestiary,
Mhm.
and of course, the dragons in Dungeons and Dragons.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Dungeon Mistress Jade.
And I am Lore Master Andy. How we doing, Jade?
Woo!
Woo!
Oh, pretty good. Just hung out with my dad this weekend.
Nice.
Yeah, we went to an old car show. Looked at some cool old cars, saw them
Nice.
race a little bit,
Oh, that's actually I was
dad
gonna
stuff.
say. Looking at the old cars is very dad coded. The racing though, that's actually kind of cool.
Yeah, so actually I live right next to the Summit racetrack in Norwalk.
Oh.
Yeah, so I've taken him there a few times to see like drag racing. This time we went to see it. They're called gassers, I guess,
Mm.
where the older cars just do a little fun race together. So yeah, it's
Nice.
pretty fun.
Yeah.
What'd you do
No.
this weekend?
I mean, we went to go see. So next to where we live is Blossom Music Center, which is it's the summertime, I guess, like concert venue for the Cleveland Orchestra, and they had a performance, which was basically like an evening with Cynthia Erivo, who played.
No way.
Yeah. You know, for those of you who don't know, which I don't know who wouldn't know at this point, but
Yeah.
in addition to all the other like big musical theater stuff she's done, she was Elphaba in the movie adaptation of Wicked. So, you know.
That's so cool. I didn't know you were doing that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I didn't have a reason to bring
Actually,
it
you
up.
might have mentioned it.
I did to some of our friends, and you know there were mixed reactions. Uh,
You should have told me because I really love the movie Wicked and I can't wait till the next one comes out.
yes, comes out in November. Obviously, we are not advertising that, but you know, hey
But
Paramount,
if you wanna give us the big bucks, we're cool
yeah,
with that.
just pay us a little bit, Paramount. But yeah, no, she was amazing. Tons of talent and vocal control that you would expect from somebody who's that big of a deal. And also, she did the whole performance, all 2 hours of it barefoot. I'm like, you go, girl.
All right.
Yep.
You know they're professional when they're barefoot,
Yeah.
to
Well,
be honest.
also, like, it was like 93 degrees out. It was hot as hell. Like, we were all, damp. You could tell from like the cameras that she and every member of the orchestra was glistening. So you know
Oh,
what?
I'm sure.
No judgment. Yeah, my youngest son threw up everywhere. It was a good time.
Well,
So, yeah,
can't have a good family outing without one of the kids throwing up,
it's
right?
true. Well, in his defense, he was trying to eat a pretzel, and being a baby, he just shoved it way too back into his mouth.
Oh.
And yeah, he like puked everywhere, and then he asked for more food. I'm like, yeah, that's about
Oh
right.
my goodness. Yep.
Oh man.
Oh.
Speaking of nothing related to that, Jade, do you want to hear a joke?
Of course I do.
Okay, so an adventuring party walks into a tavern and sits at a table, weapons at the ready. The bartender comes over and asks, "Why do you look ready for a fight?" The bard replies, "Mimics." The bartender laughs. The party laughs. The table laughs.
That joke gets funnier every time.
Yeah. It grows on you. Dare say the joke maybe wants to sink its teeth into you.
Oh,
Mm,
just a little.
just a little bit. Speaking of Jade, can we get a dice roll, please?
Yes. All right. I got brand new dice for this episode,
Ooh.
and not because I'm a goblin hoarder. Um,
I'm just a regular hoarder, not a goblin hoarder.
yeah. I don't hoard goblins, just dice.
pushes goblin farther under the desk. Nothing to see here.
These dice are from Sirius Dice. Sirius like the star, not like
Ah,
Sirius. And they're pretty like dark blue iridescent
that
dice.
sounds
So I'm gonna
awesome.
give it a roll. Hopefully it will get higher than a 10.
Hopefully.
Let's go. A 7.
Wow. Okay.
God damn it.
Wow.
Man, I demolish when I'm a DM, but like these episodes, man,
Mhm.
one of these days we got to get over a 10, right?
Yeah, it's the player's curse, right? As a DM, you're cursed to roll too high. As a player, you're cursed to roll too low. It's just how it
Truly,
is. Um,
truly.
well, with a roll of a 7, it seems that on this episode, we are going to have to be contending with the Mimic.
I'm really excited about the mimic because honestly, like this is such an iconic creature.
Mm-hmm.
It is basically the unofficial mascot of D&D, next
Yeah.
to the beholder and of
Mm-hmm.
course dragons,
Oh, of
obviously.
course, of course. Yeah, I mean, so much so that like there are a number of like anime and manga and fantasy series that directly include or reference the Mimic.
Yeah.
And I just love that. It's great. Great job, D&D. So starting off as we do with our little blurb in the 5th edition monster manual, it reads as follows. Mimics are shape-shifting predators able to take on the form of inanimate objects to lure creatures to their doom. In dungeons, these cunning creatures most often take the form of doors and chests, having learned that such forms attract a steady stream of prey. Hmm. Which is, why we've learned to, poke the chest or hit it with something before we go and open it. But obviously, we know that mimics are an iconic Dungeons and Dragons monster. But I'm sure the listeners are curious as to where on earth these things came from and how they got into the hobby. Jayde, could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Okay. So actually, mimics as they are in D&D are purely a like comes from the imagination of Gary Gygax.
Okay.
I did not find any mythological creature or creatures from folklore that exactly, are mimics basically.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, basically the criteria that I was looking for was a creature that turns into an inanimate object, not a human, not
Mm-hmm.
an animal,
Mm-hmm.
willingly.
Willingly, yes.
And also use that ability to uh either wreak havoc against humans or eat them. But unfortunately I didn't find too much, and we'll go into why a little bit. So shapeshifting has long been a part of storytelling and mythology. However, there's a like we said, there's a specific kind of shapeshifting that we're looking for when it comes to a real world comparison to the mimic. So most of the time, when shapeshifting is involved in stories, it usually refers to a being changing into an animal or a human either by choice or by force.
Mm.
There are many stories of gods or monsters transforming into an animal or a human in order to trick, seduce, or even eat other humans.
Okay.
So, for example, the time the god Zeus, it's always Zeus,
Always Zeus.
turned into a satyr to seduce Antiope? Wait,
Antiope?
Antiope. Thank you. Antiphanes, I think is a different character.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yes.
yeah, Antiope. Or there's the time that the god Zeus turned into a swan to attack Queen Leda.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Or there's the other time the god Zeus turned into other women's husbands, including Persephone's husband Hades, so he could sleep with married women.
Yeah, that's only the tip of the iceberg of Zeus's shape-shifting escapades. Or should I say sexcapades, because
Ooh.
my goodness.
Yeah, it
Zeus
was.
horn dog.
Oh my gosh, he turned into like everything, like down to an ant. And you're like, what are you doing,
Yeah,
dude?
I know. The one that sticks out to
You
me is
have a hot wife over here.
yeah. He's like, no, I have to be a shower of gold into this
Oh
maiden's
no,
lap. You're like, stop. Stop
please.
it. Get out of here. Go to God jail.
Yeah, go to therapy,
Go to
my guy.
there.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So Other mythologies have creatures who transform into beautiful women in order to lure men or even children to their doom.
Mm-hmm.
This includes kelpies in the, Celtic and Scottish traditions, the Nong, which are kind of like snake-like river monsters that transform into either women or seals to drown their victims. This comes from Armenian tradition.
Okay, the seals kind of has me. It's like, who is that seal fooling? Who is that seal for? That gives me more questions than it answers.
It's just a sexy seal.
or.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Sorry, Armenians. I'm sorry.
Yes, we mean no disrespect. I have to
No disrespect.
apologize to my friend's wife, who is Armenian now.
Oh no. Hopefully she's not a seal.
Yes. I would say not. Yes, Liana, if you're listening, I apologize.
So there's that from the Armenian traditions, and there's also like sly fox like creatures from East Asian
Mm-hmm,
traditions,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Chinese, Japanese, Korean. Usually they'll turn into beautiful women and trick humans into being cursed.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So,
Pretty
but
standard.
yeah, yeah, standard stuff. But the standard stuff like turning into people or animals isn't really what we're looking for. We want creatures that turn into objects.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there are also a lot of stories of people being turned into objects as punishment, such as the Greek tales of Narcissus or Daphne. There's also a Lithuanian folk tale of Egle?
I think
Yes,
I think it's
Egle.
yeah, Egle. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Egle, the queen of serpents. But and all those people turn into trees or flowers. But there's very few stories of people or monsters turning into objects in order to cause mayhem. And that's where the Japanese come in.
You have my interest.
Yes. So the Japanese are usually known for their very humorous and outlandish cryptids, also called yokai.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And one of the most famous yokai happens to fit the characteristics of our mimic, sort of. So, the yokai we're talking about is the Bake Danuki, aka the supernatural Tanuki, which is a real life animal, referred to as like the Japanese raccoon dog.
Mm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
They kind of look like, you know, short, fat foxes,
Yeah, yeah.
basically. They're super cute, super cute.
Big stubby tails.
Yeah. They like foxes, appear in a numerous amount of Japanese folk tales and literature. Almost every prefecture in Japan has a story that involves a Bake Danuki, often created to explain, strange events that occurred in the area.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
We'll talk about a few of these yokai that turn into objects. So, of course, the Bake Danuki don't usually shapeshift in order to eat people. They're more like pranksters, and even sometimes they're very helpful, but they do like to mess with humans a lot.
Mm, mm-hmm. Of course, of course.
Yeah, there are a couple famous Danuki, like the Ichiwata Danuki and the Shiro Dakuri, both of which transform into a cotton ball and a wine bottle, respectively. And both of them roll away from people trying to pick them up. So
I love that.
they're just like, "Hey, look at me, I'm
Yeah.
valuable.
Oh,
Oh, nope. You gotta be quick at
oh yeah, yeah.
that."
Oh, you almost got it. You gotta try again.
So that's a couple of them. But the most well-known folktale that involves a Bake Tanuki is the story of Bunbuku Chagama, or the auspicious tea kettle.
Okay.
So Bunbuku Chagama, which came into popularity around the 16th, 17th century, is actually really a really cute story about a tanuki, the yokai that transforms into a teapot.
Okay.
So in one version of the story, a man saves a tanuki and it turns into a teapot, which he then sells to a monastery for money. In other stories, we just kind of start at the monastery already, having the Tanuki pot.
Hmm.
And one day, either way, the Tanuki does not like being used as a pot.
That's fair. I
It
can't say I
it
would
doesn't
either.
Yeah, it doesn't like sitting on the fire, it doesn't like being brushed abrasively.
Yeah, yeah, yes.
So,
Ow.
yeah, the one day it reveals itself and it scares the priests at the monastery. They kind of chase it away.
Hmm. Hmm.
That or it escapes and it either finds the same poor old man that saved him or finds a different man. Either way, it reveals itself to that man and is like, "Hey, let's make a deal. How about you don't use me as a pot and I'll help you make money."
Mm. Yes, many such stories begin with the exact same bargain. Don't
Yes.
use me as whatever. I will help you make money. Which in feudal
Exactly.
Japan, making money is a very big deal.
That's true. That's
A
true.
lot harder than
And
it is now.
how do they make this money, you may ask?
Mm.
So, what the Tanuki does to earn money is it performs tricks and acrobatics while still partially transformed as a teapot. So you just have this man and his Tanuki traveling around with this dancing teapot gig. And they just go around getting money and eventually they become very wealthy. And they live comfortably until the old man gets older and eventually dies. And before he dies, he gives the teapot back to the monastery along with some of his earnings. I don't really know if there's a moral to that story or if it's just like, hey, if you get, good things, you got to return good things like that. But
I know it's just
either
like
way,
that's good, but also the Tanuki like gets burned as a teapot again.
yeah,
So
yeah, I was confused about that. Well, I'm
yeah,
like, did he want to go back? I don't
yeah,
know,
yeah. Interesting.
but yeah. So this isn't exactly equivalent to the mimic, but it truly was one of the few mythological creatures that fit our criteria of willingly turning into an object
Uh huh. Yeah.
to mess with or help humans. And isn't it kind of nice to imagine that some poor guy in the Forgotten Realms makes a deal with a mimic, and just sets up a wandering sideshow act?
Mm,
I think that's a pretty cute story.
yeah.
Andy, write that down.
Oh
Write that down.
yes, yes. Content, content.
But yeah, that's the origin of the mimic. Like I said, there's no real world equivalent because it is purely from the imagination of Gary Gygax.
Hmm.
But you'll see why this is a really cool thing because you're like, how did this guy come up with such a unique and like well thought out idea?
Hmm. Which, speaking of Gary Gygax, Jade, does the mimic appear in the white box set?
Nope.
Okay, moving on. Like I said, it doesn't appear in the original D&D. Where it does show up though is in AD&D, where it appears in the first edition monster manual, where we get a very short description of the monster. The mimic is a large and rare creature found in the subterranean depths of the world due to its aversion to sunlight. That's it. So,
Yep.
yeah,
That's all.
do with that what you will, AD&D DMs. As far as the stats are concerned, it has an AC of 7. It's all right. 7 to 10 hit dice, so, it's a little beefy. And a movement of 3 inches. Now, in terms of intelligence, mimics are actually really interesting in this edition. Most mainstream depictions of a mimic shows it as a simple monster dressed up as a treasure chest, ready to bite the first person that gets too close and touches it. And don't get us wrong, that is the typical version of the mimic you're going to get. But there is another variation of the mimic in this book as well. According to the passage, there are 2 kinds of mimics: the standard large, semi-intelligent, carnivorous killer mimic, and then the slightly smaller, intelligent sort.
I kind of love that earlier editions of D&D really lean into that nerd versus jock stereotype that was so
Yeah.
popular back then. We see it a lot with the previous monsters. like the goblins and the bullywugs,
Hmm.
where the bigger ones are dumb and aggressive, and the small ones are weak but more intelligent. It's just kind of funny that they leaned into that
Yeah,
stereotype.
yeah. They're like, you know what nerds love? Tropes, where they get to be smart.
Yep.
Now both versions of the mimic, both the big, dumb ones and the small, intelligent ones, can perfectly resemble wood and stone, and therefore will usually pose as stonework, doors, chests, or other similar items. This small detail is really appreciated because it gives a good lore reason for mimics posing as treasure chests. Now, the smarter, smaller mimics are less likely to attack immediately and will often be friendly and even give important information in exchange for food. The killer mimics do not speak, but the smarter ones have their own language and can also speak several other languages, including Common, Elvish, Orcish, and some other, expected languages. I assume languages that, they would expect travelers and adventurers to speak so that they can converse with them. Now, of course, while the bigger, more aggressive mimics do not have the capacity to speak, that does not mean that they are wholly unintelligent. These creatures are, of course, ambush predators and will only attack when another creature touches it. The mimic then attacks by lashing out with a pseudopod, and that is a direct quote, for 3 to 12 points of damage per hit. Which, once again, we're talking AD&D. That is not nothing. That's a good bit of damage. Now, while a pseudopod, for all of those who fell asleep in biology class, is.
Like me.
I mean, I also slept through it, but, I got an A. A pseudopod is a bulbous, rounded, foot-like extension. The most common example is when you see an image of an amoeba and it looks like it has arms. Those things are actually pseudopods, which is kind of a neat tidbit for the design of the mimic because it is supposed to be this like fluid, amorphous thing. And so treating its extensions as pseudopods makes sense. It's kind of funny in the artwork in this book because the pseudopod is coming out of the side of the chest-shaped mimic. And it looks kind of like a fist that's about to deck the guy in front.
It does. The guy looks so surprised. Like,
Yeah,
"Ah."
yeah. I mean, I would too if this weird, squishy, appendage came out and was about to, clock me in the face. However, what is less funny and more horrifying is the fact that at the same time as the mimic is bashing you over the head, it is also secreting a glue-like substance that is holding fast to you, which in AD&D, there is no officially established saving throw to pull yourself away from this glue. When you're stuck,
Yeah.
you're just stuck.
I'm assuming it's probably up to the DM, and it's probably a break doors roll.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But yeah, the book itself does not say what to roll or how much to roll.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the DM could just be like, "Yeah, you're stuck. Sorry, dude. Cut your
Yeah.
arm off."
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully you guys kill it. Mm. Now, maybe this is why the mimic is such an iconic creature for D&D. Its design was truly well thought out, so it can have tons of potential, and can also be fluid in both comedy and horror. Now, we next see the mimic in Dragon Magazine number 75, where we get another article from the Ecology series, once again by Ed Greenwood, living legend.
You're gonna see Ed Greenwood a lot in this episode.
Yeah, you're gonna see Ed Greenwood a lot in probably pretty much every episode, and that's not a bad thing. Now, this article is relatively short compared to the one he did on the Gorgon, but no less insightful. This time, Elminster does not make an appearance, and instead we are told that this information comes from the journal of Marilyn the Scholar, which I have to say.
Not Merlin.
Yes.
Just Maryland.
Maryland, that's right. Yeah, which I love. I love all the NPC names. They are hilarious and wonderful.
So good.
Now, the article goes into a lot of detail on how the mimic physically transforms its body to become different objects. According to Marilyn, the mimic can not only alter its shape, but can also alter its color and even the texture of its outer skin to match the object it is trying to resemble. The mimic achieves this shift in color and texture basically by rearranging its anatomy, going back to that fluid bit. The mimic's natural state is an amorphous blob with a stone-like outer skin that is gray and smooth. And it also has bag-like organs with brownish liquid inside of it.
Ew, ew, gross. I guess I appreciate the attention to detail, but he went way into detail, especially with this next description. Andy, this next description's kind of gross.
Yeah, yes. Yes. Going into the ecology of the mimic, quote, when changing into a wooden object, the mimic will contract these organs, which will then push the brown liquid out into capillaries under the outer skin. This then pushes those capillaries out, creating the wood grain texture along with the color. Ugh. To reverse this process to return to a more stone-like color and texture, the mimic is said to contort its body in order to empty the liquid back out of its capillaries. Of course, this process in real time is relatively seamless, as the mimic can change at will within one round and is only limited by the volume of the object, which cannot exceed its own. So per Greenwood, this thing is basically a living carnivorous accordion that you can see through.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, yes, no fun sounds, only gross sloshing sounds as it, tries to find the form most well suited for eating you.
Yeah, and that's all in like less than 6 seconds because it's just around.
Yeah.
But it still is gross.
Yeah, just I'm a chest, I'm a table, I'm a wall.
No,
Maybe.
not that noise.
Add that to my list of standby noises, Jade.
No, it's on the list of no noises.
Jade's like, if I was in the room with you right now, I would smack you. So the mimic is also stated to have eyes, and this is in quotes, because they are actually eye spots that are actually, quote, patches of pigment that are sensitive to heat, light, and vibration, end quote, that appear all over the mimic's body. Because these eye spots are sensitive to light, mimics tend to live exclusively in subterranean and dark areas. Now, with these eye spots, mimics are able to see, once again, in air quotes, up to 90 feet in very dark, but not completely dark areas, and then up to 30 feet in the nighttime. Now, additionally, the glue that the mimic excretes to trap its victims is also used as a mode of transportation, as the mimic is said to extend its pseudopods and grab onto things using its glue to stick there. This allows the mimic to climb onto walls and ceilings and stay there for long periods of time. The mimic can, of course, unstick its glue so that the glue does not affect the mimic itself, right? Glue for thee, but not for me. As mentioned in the Monster Manual, this glue is used to trap those that touch the mimic's skin. The passage states that even the strongest adventurers have a hard time breaking away from a mimic's glue. But what I really liked about this passage is that, unlike in the original Monster Manual, Greenwood actually gives a possible save that players can use to break free. Whew.
Thank goodness.
Thank goodness, yes. And Greenwood's like, I'm all for some horrific things. But maybe this lack of save is a little bit too horrific. Elminster approves.
Always the goat coming in with the mechanics.
Yeah. Exactly. Now, in game terms, characters attempting to break free can attempt an open doors roll by using their strength ability. This is basically a strength saving throw, where the number of attempts a character can make is based on their strength ability score. Characters can repeat attempts to break free if they fail the first time, but this takes a full action, and the character is not allowed to make an attack or defense action. So sometimes it's safer to just remain stuck.
Just cut your arm off.
Yeah, just cut your fucking arm off. It's fine. Or ask your friend to do it for you. It's AD&D. Your character's not going to survive this encounter anyway.
That's true.
Next, in Dragon Magazine number 101, published in September 1985, we find a new variant of the Mimic in a series called the Creature Catalog. Now, the Creature Catalog was a series of inserts that appeared only in 6 issues of Dragon Magazine. The series featured new monsters, some of which were later adopted into monster manuals of the future. Some say that the creature catalog was created as an alternative to White Dwarf Magazine's Fiend Factory series. Okay, so we'll talk about this more in detail in later episodes. But long story short, the Fiend Factory was a way for readers to submit their own monster creations with the hopes of them, maybe, possibly, being published as official material. Now, the majorities of the monster from the Fiend Factory series were actually officially adopted by TSR in the 1981 Fiend Folio, right? Fiend Factory to Fiend Folio. We love the alliteration, folks. It's great.
Thank Don Turnbull for that.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes. If you're out there listening for some reason, Don Turnbull, first of all, thank you. Second of all, thank you. And also, I'm not sure if he's still alive or not, so that's probably an important.
That's a great question.
Yeah. If you're listening and you're alive, I'm glad you're still alive.
If you're listening from the heavens.
Yes, from beyond the grave. Well, then perhaps you would be a suitable creature for a future episode. Now, one source said that Creature Catalog also operated this way, with readers being able to submit monsters for publication, but we couldn't find other sources confirming this. And the edition that features the first Creature Catalog did not explicitly say so. So take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah, that information was found on, what was it, 4D-chan?
Mhm.
So, you know, that's it's a little iffy on whether or not that's true.
Yeah, do with that what you will.
Yeah.
Now, the Creature Catalog 3 that appeared as an insert in Dragon number 101 featured 24 new monsters, including creatures like the Automaton, the Boogeyman, the Berber, the Boogeyman, the Sea Giant, and the Metal Mimic. Now, the Metal Mimic was created by Gregory Detweiler. Little tongue twisty there. Gregory Detweiler. Say that 3 times fast, fans.
No.
But I refuse. Along with the Mantamera and Yale in this article. Now, according to the passage, the Metal Mimic is a stronger relative of the regular Mimic. It is a very rare creature with an AC of 8 to 11 hit dice. So beefier than the regular Mimic's 7 to 10 hit dice. The passage also does a small reversal where the larger Metal Mimic is the smarter, more reasonable one, where the smaller ones are more aggressive. So, you know, we
Had
abandoned.
to reverse that trope.
Yeah, that's right. It's like, yeah, nerds, you had it too good for too long. Get back in that locker. Now, the Metal Mimic.
Gregory Detweiler sounds like a kind of jockey bully kind of name.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm Gregory Detweiler. I'm here to make D&D monsters. The fuck are you gonna do about it? Now, the Metal Mimic has all of the base powers and abilities of the normal Mimic, but with some interesting additions.
Oh no! What kind of additions?
It's funny that you asked, Jade. So not only can the Metal Mimic mimic wood and stone, it can, as the name implies, copy metal objects as well.
Who would have guessed?
Yes, who would have guessed? I know. Insane. What with these naming conventions? What do they think of next? Now, it can take the shape of any pure metal, so that's iron, gold, silver, platinum, etc., in its raw or finished form, including imitating its color, luster, and texture. It cannot, however, imitate alloy metals, nor can it copy adamantine. So, you know, for those of you who are like, well, adamantine is a pure metal in D&D. No, shut up. It cannot do that.
Not allowed.
Do not will that into the world. You don't want it.
Oh no! Yeah, I didn't even think.
Oh, this mimic is immune to all critical hits. Yeah, no, terrible ass. Now, this is of course typical mimic stuff. What really makes the Metal Mimic most frightening is its spell casting abilities.
Dun dun dun.
Yes, you're like, oh, the mimic does magic now. Yes. The mimic can cast the spell Light up to 4 times a day, illuminating itself or any other object within 20 feet. The light lasts for 6 rounds, or if an outside force cancels it. And the mimic can only cancel the light if it casted it on itself. So, similar to an anglerfish, the metal mimic will form into a sword or some other magic item, then cast light on itself to make it look like the sword is enchanted.
No. Similar light, similar amount of teeth as
Mhm.
well. Hate it.
Yeah.
Cursed.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Now, you might be saying to yourself, well, the player could just cast Detect Magic and see if it is magic or not. But Detweiler thought of that and gave the Metal Mimic another spell called Nistel's Magic Aura. Now, this spell will allow the fake sword to pass the Detect Magic spell and register positively as enchanted. The spell lasts 2 turns and can be used once a day by the Mimic. After catching its prey, the metal mimic attacks in a similar fashion as its cousin by secreting glue and then smacking the creature with its pseudopod, which does quite a bit more damage, doing 4 to 16 points of damage compared to the normal mimic's 3 to 12 points of damage.
Yeah, that spell, Nistel's Magic Aura, I kind of always thought it was a little bit of a gimmicky spell,
Mm-hmm.
tricking, other mages, but the way the Metal Mimic uses it is just diabolical, to be honest.
Yeah, I thought it was for like scamming, like the wizard that hired you for the job, right? But it's like, oh no, no, no. This is a predator. Move over, Nistel. There's a new caster in town, and he wants to
Oh
eat
man.
you. Um, now, finally, in AD&D First Edition, we see the Mimic star in its own one-shot in Dungeon Magazine, number 19, which was published in 1989. This mini-module is titled The Vanishing Village and was written by Marcus L. Rowland. Now, let me tell you, dear listener, Marcus Rowland is possibly the most diabolical DM ever, specifically for this one-shot. Now, this impromptu one-shot was actually first introduced to a group of players at King's College Games Club. The one-shot features what I assume to be Rowland's own creation, which is a version of the Mimic called House Hunters.
Oh no.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and my God, if you want to bring on the horror element to your campaign, just listen to description of these things.
I'm sorry to my friends. Before we get into that, I'm sorry to my friends for giving this idea to Andy. Very sorry.
Yes, 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 yes. I cannot confirm or deny if this will show up in a future um, session of a certain campaign.
That involves a certain vampire.
Yes, yes. You have all been informed, maybe warned.
So scared.
So scared, yes. So, house hunters are gigantic relatives of mimics that disguise themselves as buildings like cottages, a small inn, or a small temple. Even more terrifying is that, unlike regular mimics, house hunters are pack hunters that communicate via telepathy, with ancient with ancient and
So
adult
scary.
house hunters mimicking larger buildings, and young offspring mimicking smaller buildings like a stable or an outhouse.
That outhouse is just hilarious because I actually saw a miniature that someone made of
Mhm.
an outhouse with like a big mimic mouth coming out and its tongue sticking out. It was so
Oh
scary. It's
God.
hilarious.
Oh God. That's wonderful, but also Jesus Christ. Wow. Yeesh. Now, house hunters are also relatively intelligent creatures. So to make themselves even more convincing, the house hunters will make sure that their buildings match those of buildings that would, be right at home in their surrounding area. So for instance, they'll become cottages in a forest, or they'll become igloos in a tundra. These creatures can pose as a whole village in the middle of nowhere, usually around a water supply, in order to entice their prey to come near. Now, on top of being able to conform to their surroundings, house hunters employ other tricks to convince creatures of safety. Specifically in the module, the players reach this village, air quotes, as dusk is beginning to set in. Whether the players send in a scout or go into the village without reconnaissance, the house hunters will stave off suspicion by imitating noises and light inside of the buildings as if there are people inside. If the players attempt to knock or open any of the doors of the inn or any other building, quote, all noise from inside stops and the lights go out. And the door of the inn opens and an ancient house hunter attacks.
Truly, just Roland, you diabolical son of a
Mm,
bitch. Just
mm.
insane how scary these are. And like looking at the stat blocks as well, and like he even gives like what the house hunters will do if players do a certain thing. Like he went in depth to all this, and I was like, bro, you need to chill. Please stop.
Why did you just make the DM the creature?
I am all the monsters, Andy.
Yes, oh, that's true. That's true. Yes, all of your family and friends and everything that wants to kill you and eat you. Yeah. No. Speaking of how just diabolical these things are, ecology wise, house hunters are kind of like a mix between a snail and a mimic. The house hunter has eye stalks, tentacles, and a tongue, all of which are essentially pseudopods that can regrow if cut off in 1 to 4 rounds. So even if you slash hack one of these things, off of there, it's gonna come back. However, this is luckily for the players. The damage still remains, so that's good.
Yeah, that's good because some creatures don't like the froghemoth. When you cut off its tentacles, it didn't affect it damage wise.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
that's good at least.
Yes, yes. One of the very few saving graces that was built into the mechanics of these horrifying creatures. Now underneath the house hunter is a small snail-like foot that allows the creature to slowly move. The house part of the house hunter is actually a shell that protects the body from sunlight. House hunters are not necessarily damaged by sunlight, but their eyes and skin are still sensitive to it. So they prefer to move or attack at night. And they receive a -2 penalty to all attacks if they are forced to fight during the day. Now, when it comes to attacking, the house hunter is similar to the mimic in that it will use its tentacles and tongue to latch onto a victim, which are each coated with a musty smelling adhesive that requires a strength check to break free of. The house hunter will then constrict the creature for 5 rounds until it is presumed dead, which it will then be pulled into the house hunter's mouth in 1 round. Those who survive the 5 rounds of constricting damage and play possum have an extra chance of pulling free and escaping, which is kind of fun. Now, similar to when a creature is swallowed by the froghemoth, once inside the house hunter's mouth, characters can only use small, handheld stabbing weapons against an AC of 10, which is not that bad, honestly.
Not bad.
Not
Yeah.
bad.
But
Yes, if the creature does manage to damage the house hunter inside, then the tongue will pull the creature out and constrict it for another 5 rounds until it escapes or ceases to resist.
the way he said that, I'm like, roll it, stop.
Yeah, it's like, stop. They're already dead.
It's scary.
Yeah, it's going to eat you. It's going to eat you in a horrible way. Roll for sanity damage.
No, wait, you're already dead. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Now, if a creature does not manage to escape from inside the house hunter, then the bodies are fully digested and unrecoverable after 1 to 4 turns. Whew, reminder of how brutal AD&D is.
Yeah, classic AD&D stuff.
Yeah. Now, house hunters are intelligent enough to know how to speak crude common, but they are not willing to negotiate for food. It is, in our opinion, best to run away if you encounter house hunters. But if you do choose to attack, know that the hit dice of a young, adult, and ancient house hunter is 10 to 14, 15 to 19, and 20 to 29, respectively.
And that's hit dice. That's not hit points. So you're rolling for that, and you can get a high roll.
Yeah, you're rolling 6s for those. And also, they all have an AC of 0 because of their shell. You cannot, or at least it is extremely difficult to hit them from the outside. If you do manage to kill a house hunter, you have a 5% chance of finding a magic item in an adult and a 10% in an ancient house hunter. Is this worth the risk? We do not believe so.
No, I don't think so.
No. And that is our mimics and their variants in AD&D First Edition.
All right, now we're going to move on to AD&D Second Edition, where we see the Mimic first appear in the 1989 Monstrous Compendium Volume 2. This time the Mimic is officially split into two different categories, one being the Common Mimic and the other being the Killer Mimic.
Oh, damn.
Yep. Just straight up.
Yeah, yeah. This one will murder you, but this one will really murder you.
This one will talk to you at least a little.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. Both mimics are fairly similar. There are a couple important differences. So for example, the common mimic is now much more intelligent, having an average intelligence, which is about a 8 to 10 score, whereas the killer mimic is only semi-intelligent, and that's just above the intelligence of a wild animal. So just slightly smarter than an animal
Oh,
at a
jeez.
score of 2 to 4.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, he dumb. All right, all right.
Yeah, it's just low. The common mimic has an alignment of neutral, whereas the killer mimic is neutral evil. Both still live underground to avoid sunlight. They are still sensitive to heat or light within a 90-foot radius. Though it does not say if these creatures get any kind of penalty due to sunlight. I'm
Hmm.
assuming they do, but they are sensitive to that and heat. And though they're both the same, they're categorized as size large,
Okay.
but the passage still distinguishes the common mimic as smaller, usually occupying around 150 cubic feet,
Mhm.
whereas the killer mimic occupies around 200 cubic feet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the killer mimic is also a bit beefier when it comes to hit dice. It has 9 to 10, whereas the common mimic only has 7 to 8. It is the killer mimic is also less likely to be hit because it has a THAC0 of 11 instead of 13.
Ah,
As
okay.
the, yeah, so bit beefier, bit stronger. Um, doesn't talk to you.
Just growls
Yeah.
menacingly.
Why is it in a cage? It growled at me.
It crowded me.
This time, we do get a little more lore in the background of the origin of the mimic, right? So the passage states that now mimics are magically created creatures who were fabricated by wizards who wanted to guard their treasure.
Mm.
So a little more lore on why mimics typically take the form of treasure chests. It is also why the common mimic has its own tongue, so it speaks its own language, and it is speculated that its language is a corrupted version of the original languages that their wizard creators spoke.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, I do like that. And they also have the ability to learn other languages, mainly common. The common mimic can be reasoned with in exchange for food, but ultimately, even for the common mimic, life is about survival, and therefore, it is about food. Yep. So the common mimic will not hesitate to go back on a deal, and especially if it means a chance for more food. So
Mm.
you could possibly make a deal with a mimic, but I would not recommend it.
Yes, just carry food. Carry food
Yeah,
for it.
carry meat chunks like you're going to feed some sharks, you know? Ecology wise, the Monstrous Compendium kind of consolidated a lot of the variant lore from AD&D First Edition, particularly the characteristics of the metal mimic. So it combined the base version of the mimic, and in this version, mimics can alter the pigmentation to resemble objects made of all varieties of stone, wood grain, and various metals,
Mm,
including
okay.
gold, silver, copper. Yep. It doesn't say anything about limitations to this. I'm assuming the DM would still probably rule that it can't be adamantine.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. One would hope.
yeah, but it can. It now just is all encompassing on what it can turn into. However, the mimic must stay the same size, meaning that when it transforms, it cannot lose or gain mass,
Mm.
but it can significantly alter its dimensions. So, and this camouflage process takes 1 round, which I think is going to be a common theme throughout all the editions.
Hmm.
When it transforms, it's just going to take 1 round.
Yeah, yeah. So if you see a large chair and then the same chair but smaller, maybe something's going on.
Something's wrong. Yeah.
Do not sit in that slightly smaller chair.
Just don't sit in a chair in a dungeon in
That's
general,
right.
you
That's
know?
right. No sitting, only standing. That's the safest thing to do.
No sit, only stand.
Only stand.
Combat wise, we finally get some stats on the Mimic's ambush ability. This time, Mimics can surprise their victims by giving them a -4 to their surprise rolls.
Mm.
The Mimic still attacks with its pseudopod, which does now 3d4 points of damage, and it still covers itself in a glue-like substance, this time smelling like rotting meat.
Delicious.
I feel like the smell of the glue gets worse over time.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, oh, it's musty. Oh, now it smell like rotting shit. All right, all right.
Yeah. The glue still holds fast to any creature that touches it, but now officially the creature can do a open doors roll to break free, but it cannot take any other action that turn if it does.
Hmm.
The creature may also weaken the glue with alcohol, which takes about 3 rounds before it fully dissolves the glue. And usually this alcohol has to be like pretty strong, like really strong
Mm-hmm.
wine or liquor.
Yeah, that
Uh,
doesn't quite
yeah.
seem worth it though for 3 rounds. I mean, that's
Yeah, you're just kind of sitting there getting hit by a pseudopod. I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah. That's
I
yeah.
mean, I guess it ensures that while you're stuck, you know you're gonna get out, so you're gonna take an action to attack rather than
Hmm.
to break free. So I guess that makes
Yeah.
sense a little bit.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Maybe that's like it's more of a thing like, one of your party members splashes it while you keep bashing it.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah. And finally we get a last bit of new lore about the mimic uh concerning how the mimics procreate
Oh, damn.
as well, yeah, as well as some uses for slain mimics.
Oh, okay. All right. All
Mhm.
right.
So it is now confirmed that mimics procreate via fission.
Oh, all right.
Yep. No little tadpoles or things like that,
Mm,
or polyps. They just kind of split in half, and the smaller mimic will grow to full size within several years.
so it's basically just a big worm.
Yeah, yeah, basically, which
Hmm.
kind of makes sense. It's just this amorphous amoeba kind of thing,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
fission makes sense.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
As for uses for dead mimics, the mimic ichor and its organs have several lucrative uses. The ichor can be used in the creation of a polymorph self potion,
Okay.
and, quote, their glue and solvent sacks can be sold to alchemists for a good
Mm,
price. Mhm. The mimic's organs can be also be used to make perfume, and in
okay.
some cultures is even considered a delicacy.
Ah, yes. Let me serve you this tray of delicacy. It smells like rotting meat.
I feel like someone definitely read oh, what's that, Moby Dick
Mhm.
before before writing this, because whales are the same thing. Their organs were made perfume and were also considered a delicacy.
Yeah, it's like, can I interest you in some spermaceti? No, but can I interest you in some mimic-ceti? Rotting meat.
Delicious.
Just call me Ishmael.
Yeah. Oh my
Ah,
gosh.
literary humor.
I do enjoy it. I do. But you know what else I enjoy?
What's that, Jade?
I enjoy jokes.
Okay.
And you know what's scarier than the deep unknown of space, Sandy?
I don't know, Jade. What?
The deep unknown of space that's filled with space
Oh
mimics.
God, Jade, that's not a joke. That's just horrifying. Oh no.
Yeah, yeah. In second edition, we see a very interesting variant of the mimic, the space
Oh
mimic.
God.
Yep, which appears in the 1990 Monstrous Compendium Spelljammer Appendix. And for those of you that don't know, Spelljammer was a campaign setting that was set in space, which was created to both expand D&D adventures into space, so just, space adventures in general,
Mm-hmm.
as well as give DMs the ability to connect all of the different worlds of D&D. So Greyhawk, Dragonlance, Forgotten Realms, etc., can all be connected through Spelljammer. You just kind of fly over to those realms, you know? Um just walk in and I feel like you walk into Dragonlance and they're like, "Have you ever seen a dragon? They're horrific." And the person from Forgotten Realms like, "Yeah, dragons are fine.
It's
They're
like,
all right."
yeah, man. Like I killed one because a different one employed me to kill that one. They've been rivals since birth. Yeah, and the current people are just like, what?
Oh god. Oh no.
Yeah. Meanwhile, a rogue band of Skrull just like crash land and start shooting with their guns that they have because they have them. Yes, Skrull is orcs backwards, and they are space orcs. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, get with it.
Get with it. Also, mind
So
flayers.
yeah, yes, Skrull, Mind Flayers, all of this space setting, of course, gave creators an opportunity to come up with brand new space-related monsters.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And while the space mimic may not be a brand new concept in itself, the space mimic is a unique monster in its own right. It has all of the base statistics of the common mimic and the same origin, but the space mimic is even more intelligent than the common mimic, with a high intelligence of 13 to 14.
Oh, damn.
Yep. And a high intelligence is indicative of two things when it comes to AD&D: the ability to learn languages and the ability to learn spells.
Wait a minute. Jayde, they can be
Yes.
wizards?
Yes.
Oh.
They can be wizards.
Oh my god, mimic wizards.
So excited. Yeah. They even learn magic like wizards, and
Oh.
we'll go into that
Oh
in
my
a
god.
second. Yeah. Finally, the answer to that question is yes.
Yes.
They can be wizards. So, first of all, get into languages. Space mimics, along with having their own language, will also know 3 to 4 other languages on top of that.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. The languages known are dependent on a roll of a D100. Quote, the languages it is most likely to understand are Neogi, the Arcane Tongue, Human Common, Beholder,
Oh, okay.
Elven, or Illithid. And on a roll of 96 or more, the space mimic is eager to learn a new language. So if you come across one, it might just want to learn a new one.
Yes, I love that. It's like, yes, I'm eager to learn. Let me teach you Gnomish, which good luck finding an application for that in space. That's great. I love it. I love it.
I feel like it would have an application because I feel like gnomes are the ones that are making the spelljammers. No.
Well, that's true because in the lore, space flight was accidentally discovered by Tinker Gnomes using
Yeah.
Yeah, did I tell you about that?
I don't think so.
Okay, so it was a couple of Tinker Gnomes that they were using a chain-driven automatic tomato hucker, and
Oh
yeah, and they
yes,
accidentally
yes.
hucked
Oh, keep going.
themselves into space. It's awesome. They just shot themselves into space using a tomato hucker. I love it. Spelljammer is ridiculous. It is one of my favorite settings and supplements for that reason. It's like, what if we made this stupid but justified it with science? Kind of.
It's like the music where it's like the gang figures out how to throw themselves into space.
Yeah, yeah. Spelljammer is basically a series of It's Always Sunny's episodes. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Yes.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, so yeah, teach it gnomish is the moral of the
Yep, teach
story.
it gnomish. That's right. That's right.
As for spellcasting, the space mimic has innate spellcasting abilities, which means it does not need spell components of a fourth level
Oh
illusionist.
wow. Okay.
Yep. The space mimic has the ability to learn more spells by reading scrolls or books. And this is kind of unique because a lot of the times when we see you know, monsters that have magic abilities, it usually states that they cannot learn new magic.
Yeah. Hmm.
Right? This is pretty neat that it basically learns like a wizard reading scrolls and books. The typical spells you'll see a space mimic have are quote audible glamour, cantrip, which in AD&D cantrip is not a category of spells; it's actually a spell in itself, which is kind of equivalent to the 5e spell prestidigitation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It also has the spell spook, which is the equivalent. Yeah. It's it's the equivalent of the fear spell, which is a much better name than spook.
Oh, I got spooked. Oh, by the space mimic.
Bam, spooked ya.
Spooked you, didn't I? Which I mean, to be fair, yes, it's a sentient chest that's spooking me. I would be spooked.
Yeah.
Dear God.
Um, so the spook spell, Nystul's magical aura, hypnotic pattern, improved phantasmal force,
Ooh.
and invisibility.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a good little list of spells. Damn.
Yeah, it's a good list. And like I said, it can learn more.
Mhm.
Whatever a fourth level illusionist can learn, it'll learn that.
Mhm.
The passage also states that the mimic needs to rest in order to recover previously casted spells. So I'm assuming that means it can only cast a spell once a day, or maybe it has a certain number of casts it can do, but
Mhm. Mhm.
that's what it states.
Gotcha.
Yep. And finally, the space mimic can also levitate at will.
Oh. Oh, lovely.
This actually allows it to float through wild space, often, spending their time reading books on space lore or arcane magic.
Mm. Yeah, just casually floating through space, right? You're like on your spell
Yeah.
jammer, right, with your crew, and you just see this like chest floating by reading a book.
With like little glasses
Yeah.
on.
It's like,
Reading
Captain, are we going to
glasses.
acknowledge that? Absolutely not. Keep going.
Nope.
Keep
Nope.
going.
Keep it actually may be hard to detect a space mimic when it's floating through space unless it is reading a book
Yeah, yeah,
out in
yeah.
the open. Because its natural skin is actually a reflection of it's like pitch black with a bunch of like starry galaxies and stars on it. So it kind of blends into the background of space.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Uh, And also because they are intelligent creatures, space mimics do have a culture, unlike the common mimic.
Oh, okay.
A culture but no morals. Just
Oh.
keep that in mind.
Okay. All right. Fair, fair,
It
fair.
it will betray you for food still.
But also, this one can just conjure the food itself, maybe. Who knows?
Maybe. Yeah, yeah. So it has a culture, therefore, while on their travels, if a space mimic encounters another space mimic or any other intelligent creature that has food or scrolls, it will often trade for food or scrolls.
Hmm.
And speaking of food, if food is scarce, then the space mimic can go into hibernation for up to 2 to 3 years before it needs to feed again.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
That makes sense for something that has evolved in the cold vacuum of space.
Yeah, I mean, how often are you gonna see a spelljammer come by? Who knows?
Yeah, yeah, seriously.
But yep, that's it for the space mimic. Next we're gonna move on to uh the mimic in the monstrous compendium, um we're gonna move on to the monstrous manual.
Yes,
God,
yes, yes.
mix those up all the time. But basically,
Common
the mimic
mistake.
from yeah, the mimic from the monstrous compendium is reprinted verbatim into the 1993 monstrous manual.
Mm.
Uh, so I mainly wanted to mention this one specifically for its artwork. I got to this book, and the artwork is probably the weakest we've ever seen before.
Yeah.
It's did you
Yeah,
take a look at
I
it?
did. I did. I thought that the one centaur we clowned on was bad, but jeez. Oof.
Yeah, it's just this ugly little red mimic chest
Yeah.
with like a dumb little claw coming out of the
Yeah.
side.
Who's
I
falling for that?
Right, it's not the best. It's not the best.
No. They're not
So
sending their best. The mimics, they're the worst. They're eating the adventurers. They're eating the cats.
they're eating the dogs.
Eating the dogs, but not very well because they're not
Oh,
very convincing.
oh man. Yeah. Mainly wanted to clown on this artwork. Sorry if you're the artist for this, but it's kind of bad.
Yeah,
It's
it's
kind of
like
bad.
I can't make better art, but also your artwork sucks. I'm sorry. Please do better.
Maybe we should try our hand at making artwork, Andy.
Yes, yes, yes. Patreon users, keep your ears open and your eyes open.
Yeah. Your
Some
ears
shitty
open
art.
for artwork.
That's right. Some shitty art coming to a Patreon post near you.
Or Instagram. We haven't decided yet.
Yes, yes. Maybe both. I don't know.
Both? Both is
Both?
good.
Both is good. That's right. That's right.
All right. Finally, the last thing we're coming to in AD&D second edition um, is another variant of the mimic that appears in the small monstrous compendium that was included in the Ruins of Undermountain 2, the Deep Levels campaign that was published in 1994. Now, the original Undermountain campaign, created by, hey, say it with me, Ed
Ed
Greenwood.
Greenwood.
Yep. The original one takes place in an elaborate mega dungeon built underneath the city of Waterdeep by a mad mage named Hallister Blackcloak.
Icon.
Yep, some of you may know who he is. The first Undermountain setting published in 1991 was a 128-page book that focused on the first 3 levels of this dungeon. The campaign book, of course, features some quotes from our boy, the wizard Elminster,
Of course.
who describes Undermountain thus, quote, "A great place to have fun, the most famous battlefield in which to earn a reputation as a veteran adventurer, and the largest known mass grave in Faerun today." End quote.
That's great. It's typical Elminster, right? Very backhanded with the
Very.
with the description. That's great. Fantastic. Fantastic. All we're missing is a little Volo insert.
I'm sure it's in there. I didn't go through the whole campaign book, but I'm sure it's in there. That or Morning Canaan, who knows?
Yes, yes, yes.
But yep, so that's the original one. As the name implies, the Ruins of Undermountain 2, the Deep Levels, this time written by Gene Rabe and Norm Ritchie, expands upon the mega dungeon, allowing players to explore the lower levels and sub levels of the dungeon. Yep. So now the entire dungeon has a total of 9 known levels and at least 14 sub levels, with the deeper levels connecting to the wider Underdark.
I mean, horrible, but it makes sense.
Yeah. The box sets for these 2 campaigns do include some adventure encounters and story hooks, but Undermountain is mainly a sandbox that allows the DM to kind of insert whatever path they wish for their players
Ooh.
while throwing in a big old mega dungeon.
That's fun.
Yeah. As for the Undermountain 2, this set came with its own 60-page monstrous compendium that included a variant of the mimic called the Greater Mimic.
Oh.
The passage, yep. The passage speculates on whether or not greater mimics are just ancient mimics that have grown stronger, or if they're an evolved version of the mimic that changed due to this strange magic that exists in the dungeon.
Oh, you don't say.
Yeah. The kind of the plot of the Undermountain is that you have to go through this huge dungeon full of Hallister's lackeys, basically. They're like the 9 mage. I forget what their title is, but there's 9 of them, and there's mages, and they're practicing magic all over the place.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the final 4, except there's 9 of them, and they're just way worse.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Um, Either way, the name definitely does the greater mimic justice, as it is superior in every way to the
Mm-hmm.
common mimic.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
yep. Stats wise, all around beefier. The greater mimic is categorized as a huge monster,
Okay.
occupying 1,000+ cubic feet.
Mm.
Yeah, it can cover as much as a 30 by 30 by 30 area.
Oh my God! I only take up 5 of that.
It has an AC of 2 for external attacks and a 5 for internal attacks. Don't know why you need that.
Yeah. Why is that important, Jade?
Which remember the lower the number in AD&D, the stronger it
Mm-hmm.
is.
Mm-hmm.
And it has 15 to 16 hit dice,
Mm.
and their attacks do twice as much damage as the common mimic, dealing 6 to 24 points of damage per hit.
Jesus. Okay.
hmm The greater mimics are also very intelligent with a score of 12 to 14, though not quite as intelligent as the space mimic, but definitely more than the common mimics.
Mm.
And it also has a 10% resistance to magic, which is pretty new to see for the mimic.
Jeez. All right. All right.
Yeah.
Damn.
No, it gets worse, buddy.
Oh no, I'm in danger.
Strap in. The greater mimic also has stronger camouflage abilities, allowing them to not only change their pigmentation to match stone, wood, or metal, but also alter their quote coloring and shape to imitate a vast number of textures, colors, and shapes at once.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. So, excuse me. While the common mimic can only imitate a singular item, like a treasure chest,
Mm-hmm.
a greater mimic can imitate an entire room, forming all of the furniture and decorations and treasure in the room.
Oh. Oh no. Oh. Oh, the horror. Oh no, Jade.
The horror.
Oh no.
So the greater mimic will lure unsuspecting victims into the quote unquote room,
Mm.
where it quickly traps them by closing the quote unquote doors.
Oh.
Yeah. The greater mimic is usually open to negotiations, always in exchange for food, because the greater mimics usually have a voracious appetite. Though they can sustain themselves on little to no food to survive, they mostly don't want to do that. They prefer
Yeah.
not to.
Yeah. No. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah. The greater mimic also has a lot of treasure that it uses to lure, adventurers into. But it also cannot digest treasure. So it's usually willing to use it to trade for food and even information.
Mm. Okay.
Uh, and information is usually good for this because, one, the greater mimic is a area specific monster.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You don't really see it outside of the Undermountain dungeon in any other supplement.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And also because it's so big, it doesn't move very fast.
Ah.
So, yeah, so it usually likes to stay in one place, and in one place it can usually hear a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
it'll have information. That being said, it would behoove the adventurers, therefore, to negotiate with a greater mimic rather than attempt to fight it.
Yeah, this is the time when you let the party bard just go crazy. You let
Yeah.
them absolutely regale and bullshit with this thing, because otherwise, y'all gonna go et.
Yes. Because the greater mimics don't just smack their victims with a pseudopod,
Mm.
but instead they basically implode upon those who enter its room, doing 6 to 24 points of damage.
Oh God.
Yeah, yeah. So if you're in a room, it closes the doors, it's negotiating with you. You're like, no, fuck you. I'm not negotiating. Bam, it just slams into you.
Oh man.
Yeah, the room collapses in. And most creatures if it doesn't choose to negotiate with you, it just
Mm-hmm.
chooses to attack. Most creatures won't even see the attack coming because it has a -6 to their surprise rolls.
Jesus.
Yeah, yeah. And on top of that, the greater mimic can also create that glue-like substance, which basically it implodes on you, and then you're stuck in a glue trap.
Oh.
Yeah, if you touch any of the parts of the mimic.
Oh.
So yeah, DMs have fun describing that unholy scene to your players.
Yeah, Jesus. Oof.
Yeah, it's truly scary.
Yeah, that's bad.
It yeah, it's I can imagine some DMs going just full into the horror and just being like, "Yeah, your limbs are pulled apart as it, expands back
Ooh,
out
yeah, yeah, yeah.
from imploding."
Make a keep your limbs attached throw. Jesus.
Yeah, so again, negotiate with the
Oh.
greater mimic.
Oh.
If you can, if you
If you
can.
can, if you can.
Yeah. And finally, because the greater mimic is specifically in the deeper levels of Undermountain Dungeon, they're usually not very cooperative creatures because they're kind of doing their own thing, and
Mm-hmm.
the other mages usually leave them alone.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they've tried to use greater mimics as guards, but they usually do not listen.
Yeah, yeah, I wonder
Yeah.
why.
Yeah, yeah. There is rumor, however, that Hallister was able to befriend a greater mimic, and use it to guard some of his more, you know, expensive areas of his dungeon.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, and he'll usually, sedate the greater mimic by teleporting unsuspecting adventurers to it as a treat.
Oh.
Here you go.
Oh God. Mass
Yeah.
grave indeed, Elminster.
Mass grave. Biggest mass grave of Free Moon.
Jesus Christ.
Yep, so that is second edition, folks, and we're gonna move on to third edition, um, with Andy. Andy.
Yes, thank you, Jade. So we finally get to third edition, where we really only see the mimic appear once in 3E and then once in 3.5 in their respective monster manuals. In the 2003 edition monster manual, the mimic's lore and its attack style is generally the same as second edition, just updated to third edition language and mechanics. Pretty standard for a lot of creatures, as we've talked about in episodes past. The mimic is now categorized as a large aberration with an AC of 13 and 78 plus 21 hit points that averages out to 52. It stays pretty consistent with what we've seen in the past. It still uses the skill Adhesive, once again coating itself in a glue-like substance, which this time automatically grapples a creature that the mimic hits with its slam attack, which has a 10-foot reach and does 1d8 plus 6 damage. The mimic can make a free slam attack on a creature stuck to it per round. That creature is stuck, right? So if you manage to get stuck by the mimic, it just gets to slap you once a
Yeah,
round.
yeah. Kind of broken.
Yeah, yeah,
They'll
yeah,
fix that later on, but
yeah, yeah.
yeah, kind of crazy.
Now, if they don't want to, oh no, I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself here. I'm sorry. Additionally, weapons that hit the mimic have a chance of becoming stuck. So if a character does not want their weapon to get stuck, they have to make a DC 16 reflex save to get their weapon away before it gets stuck to the mimic's natural adhesive. If they fail, the character must make a DC 16 strength check to unstick it, which until they get that, they just don't get to use that weapon.
Oh, just drop it.
Yeah.
Grab another weapon.
Yeah, which I mean, to be fair.
It'd kind of be funny to see like the fighter just pull out their arsenal of weapons. Like,
Yeah.
oh, that one's stuck. Oh, that one's stuck.
Yeah. Another axe. Oh shit. Another sword. And meanwhile, like the wizard's just like, where are you pulling those from?
I'll forever reference the scene from Sinbad.
Yes.
Where the guy just keeps pulling stuff out.
Yeah. That's a load bearing scene in my mind. From like
Mm.
I love that movie. even though I know as a person who has now studied some film and knows some things, I know it's a pretty mid film, but in my heart,
Yeah.
it'll always be one of the greats.
Honestly, true.
Yes.
True.
Um,
It's not as good as Treasure Planet, but it's like one of those formative, millennial
yeah,
movies.
yeah, yeah. Like Sinbad, Treasure Planet, Titan AE. That's another great one. And like all of
Mm.
them had fantastic voice casts. I
Yes.
think Brad
Yes.
Pitt was Sinbad, if I remember correctly, which is like, how did?
Oh, was he?
Yeah, yeah. It's like, how did they get him to do this? But yeah, it's great. It's great.
I just know the goddess Eris. Whew,
Mm,
her voice. It
mm.
did something to me for sure.
Oh yes, it's like before that moment in time, I was not sure that I liked women, but after watching that movie, I was like, I like women a lot. I have no further questions, Your Honor. Um, now, going back to our mimic, which this episode is about, the adhesive that it secretes can be removed in a few ways, which this is a little bit different than second edition. It builds on that, but we get some other options, okay? So, option one, convince the mimic to dissolve the adhesive of its own free will. Maybe you are, making a successful roll, although that's not likely. More likely is you are trading it food or information or something.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, yes, I would rather have this thing you are giving me or telling me than have you stuck to me. Second option, you can dissolve the adhesive with very strong alcohol, which happens right away now in third edition, but the mimic still keeps its +4 bonus on its grapple hold. So you don't have to wait as long, but also you do not get off that easily.
Yeah.
Or our third option, which is the adhesive will automatically dissolve after 5 rounds after the mimic is dead. So you can get unstuck if you kill the mimic, but also you're stuck to its corpse for about 25 seconds. So
Yeah.
gross. Or I'm sorry, 30 seconds.
I feel like that's such a barbarian way of thinking. Like, I can't be stuck to the mimic if I kill the mimic.
Yeah, so if I kill it. I also like, the idea of the scene. It's like, blah, 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 the rogue or something was stuck to it, right? And the mimic is dead. And, the rogue's like, yes, yes, I can get away. And they try to pull away and they can't, right? And then, like, the big, long mimic tongue just kind of flops over their face while they're still
Yes,
stuck.
that'd be so funny.
Cinema. Now, lore-wise, the mimics are still the creation of some long-forgotten mad wizard long ago. They now specifically speak common and are still willing to negotiate for food. Now, the way that the mimic transforms is generally the same as well, transforming its shape and pigmentation to fit any object that takes up 150 cubic feet. Other creatures can make a spot check, which in 5th edition we'd say a perception check. This is against the mimic's +12 disguise check to suss out the monster. So, unless you're extremely perceptive, there's a very decent chance in 3rd edition and 3.5 that you will be fooled. And that chest looks super safe, and you should definitely go touch it.
You should go touch it.
Go touch it. Go touch it right now. Now, the mimic in the 2003 3.5 Monster Manual is almost a carbon copy of 3rd edition's, even using the exact same artwork, with some minor tweaks here and there. It still has the same hit points, but now has 15 armor class, a little bit harder to hit. It has dark vision up to 60 feet, immunity to acid damage, and of course, mimic shape. The mimic can still take up the same 150 cubic feet when it is shape-shifting, but it cannot be longer than 10 feet. The passage also states that the mimic weighs around 4,500 pounds, so if you stub your toe on a peculiarly heavy stool, it's probably safe to assume that it's a mimic.
I can't believe they make it that heavy. Like, why? What's the
Yeah.
point of that?
Yeah, I mean, like, I guess, it's to give the option where, like, your players, oh, well, I just start, like, poking, right? Stuff.
Yeah.
I've got this 10-foot pole. I got to use it for something. Oh, I can't move the stool. Must be dangerous.
But also imagine if the mimic is like on the ceiling pretending to be something up there and you poke
Ooh.
it just falls on you. You're
Yeah.
dead. You're dead.
Yeah. That's definitely going to do some fall damage. I'm surprised they didn't make a mechanic for that, but
Yeah.
yeah, interesting. Now, speaking of mimics and their disguises, the mimic now has a plus 13 to its disguise check instead of plus 12. And it gets a plus 5 instead of a plus 4 to its grapple attack. The mimic still automatically grapples a creature after the mimic hits the creature with its slam attack due to its adhesive ability, but it no longer gets a free hit per round on the stuck creature. So, that's a little bit nicer. But,
Yeah. Fixes that.
yeah, but now if the creature does a successful grapple check, then it gets to use its crush ability, which does 1d8 plus 4 points of damage. So, just because it grabs you does not mean you are not getting hurt. So,
Yes.
not quite as ridiculous on the damage output, but also you're going to have a bad time. So,
You're gonna have a bad time.
you're going to have a bad time. It's a mimic. You're having a bad time. So all around, while, I like that the mimic's attacks were streamlined, I'm kind of sad that it came at the cost of the rich lore and ecology of the mimic. Sad to say, but this is kind of another disappointing 3rd edition take on a monster. What happened, 3E? You let us down. You're not...
Yeah. Very sad.
Very
It
sad.
was so subpar compared
Mhm.
to all the other editions.
Yeah, I know, which is like kind of out of the ordinary. A lot of times 3rd edition fixes a lot of things, but...
Yeah. Fixes a lot of things. It like consolidates a lot of
Mhm.
things. This one just seems so bare bones and boring.
Mhm.
Other than the fact that it is like a whole truck.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yes. Yes. Now it can crush you. But that's it. Otherwise, it's the same. Well,
Yeah,
oh well. Maybe 4th edition can surprise us once more, like it did
Mhm.
in the last episode. But we are actually at time for this episode. So we will talk more about 4th edition in part 2 of our Mimic
Part
Saga.
two.
Part 2. But because you stuck around this long, we are, of course, not going to leave you completely empty-handed. I say as we're almost at an hour and a half of podcast runtime. And we're just going to give you a little sneak peek into our scenario.
A little sweet treat, if you will.
Yes, sprinkle a little sweet treat for you. I'm Sugar Bay.
No.
Yeah, you can't see it because this is an audio format, but I'm doing the hand position and the sprinkling
Oh no.
in the camera, and Jayde hates it. Okay, so yes, we're gonna leave you here with a little snippet of our scenario. So I would like for you to picture this. The large wooden door shuddered as something on its other side forcefully slammed into it. Hinges groaned and wood strained as the door weathered a second impact. The sound of the third hit quickly gave way to a crash of splintering wood as the door was unceremoniously smashed to pieces. A large, imposing woman stood in the doorway, her right shoulder slightly lowered. She yawned loudly, then relaxed her stance. "Door's open," she said, gesturing at the scattered chunks of timber. "You know, B, I could have picked the damn thing," Trina quipped, as she picked up the now homeless metal handle. "Would it kill you to use a bit of subtlety?" Britomar snorted. She tossed her long braid over her shoulder and pulled a cloth from a pouch on her belt, which she used to begin cleaning a layer of gray slime off of her massive claymore. The Empress was too elegant a weapon to be left sullied by the stains of battle. "Come on, little sis. It's the last room in this bloody place. Everyone knows that's where all the loot's supposed to be. Besides, I doubt there's even anything left alive in here to defend it." Yes, that room filled to the brim with gnolls was certainly something, Sprezio said, as he started rolling up a bloody and tattered sleeve. Ukushaza nodded in agreement as he began applying an earthy poultice to the bite marks that dotted the tiefling's forearm from elbow to wrist. I've never seen looks filled with such hunger before. Those creatures have convinced me that I must be delicious, the turtle said, with a chuckle. Sprezio groaned as he rubbed the base of his right horn with his free hand. So what's exactly in there anyway? Britomar said, peering into the room beyond. The chamber was decently large. Its floor, walls, and ceiling were all made of tiled stone. What was peculiar was how empty it was. Completely empty, in fact, save for a small house that stood opposite the doorway. Gods above! That is what we hacked and blasted our way in here for, Sprezio said, bringing his other hand up to his head in dismay. Well, I suppose now we have a lovely underground vacation home. Oh, don't get your tail in a twist, Trina replied, raising her torch as she carefully examined the stone floor before them. Obviously the treasure's inside the house. Why else would it be down here?
Thanks for joining us on Browsing the Bestiary. Be sure to subscribe for more episodes and check out our Patreon at Browsing the Bestiary, all one word. We've also added a link tree to our Patreon, so now you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube.
On Patreon, you can keep up to date on any new pod-related announcements, access reference pages for each episode, and download character sheets for characters featured in our story times. You can also comment on what you think the next monster will be, and if you get it right, you'll get inspiration.
And if you're something of a lore master yourself, you can offer us corrections for any facts we got wrong. If you catch something we missed, you may get a shout out in a future episode.
Remember to cite your sources.
And before we go, we'd like to shout out our patrons. Thank you to Carl, Holly, Megan, and Kethri for becoming members. I'm Dungeon Mistress Jayde.
And I'm Lore Master Andy.
May your dice rolls be high.
And your adventurers ever prepared.
It's a great joke. Watching for mimics. Why is everybody looking at me? Oh, I'm still talking table.